Hi everybody. This is going to be a video on how to screen record on your iPad, and it'll also teach you guys how to do side-by-side view, or if you want to do the flyover view, which I'll show you what those are if you aren't sure. A couple things I want to talk about because this will be a big deal actually for our test. We're going to do that new kind of weird video narrated test of you guys explaining what's going on. You'll notice that I keep kind of looking up at it. It's weird. You want to look at what you look like on the screen, but do your best to actually look at the camera up top. So this is how you should shoot a video. I know it, at least me, I'm staring at this hole and would like to see myself. But you guys, of course, feel a little bit more engaged if somebody's looking directly at the camera, okay? So work at that, do your best. I think that'll help you for future projects and presentations. I still struggle with it, of course, though, so. All right, so right now it might just look like I'm shooting a normal video with the camera on my iPad, but I'm not. So let me get out of this. And if you notice in the top right corner, I've got a red record button going. So what your iPad has is if you pull down the battery right here, there's actually a screen recording feature. Now, if it doesn't show up there, there's two things. Go to settings. And it's one of two things. General, if you go into About, you need it to be on an operating system, iOS, of at least 11 or above. So you can see software version up there. Mine is 12.4, so I'm all good. And then the other thing, which is kind of sneaky hidden, is if you go to Control Center and you hit Customize Controls, you need to have the screen recording up at that top section called the Include. So if it's down in the bottom where it says more controls and it's got a green plus next to it, hit the green plus so it adds it to the included section, okay? All right, so of course, when it is there, when you do the pull down, you could then click that button. However, I learned the hard way when I first did this a while back and had to YouTube it. I learned that I was recording and it didn't pick up my audio. So what I have to do, what you have to do is don't just tap it, but press and hold that button, and then it'll give you more options, one of them being mic on or off. I have no idea why you would want the mic off, but it might be set to that by default, okay? I can't do that right now because if I hit the button, it'll stop recording this, of course. But if you're not getting audio, hold that button, and it'll give you the option to turn the mic on or off. Of course, you want it on, okay? So when we do this for our tests, you're going to want to be able to share multiple things that are on your screens, maybe apps, okay? So if I go to something like video physics, this will be really cool. I can pull up maybe the lab that we did the other day. I can pull up the lab, and I can then, of course, play the video if I wanted to. And I can, more importantly, talk about the data points that I made in this. And maybe talk about the displacement and how it's changing. So when you're taking the test, this will give me a really good idea if you're understanding what's going on, if you can explain what's happening to the displacement. The other thing you could do, of course, is you could also open up graphical analysis and you could look at certain graphs. This is definitely for a different one, but you could start breaking it down and say, hey, if I look at the bottom of the bottom graph, velocity versus time, there's kind of two big parts. The initial part shows a positive uniform acceleration, which means it was speeding up in the positive direction based on the velocities being positive. And then the second half could talk about the negative acceleration. There's also another cool feature about this, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. So if you notice at the bottom in my toolbar, I have some apps that I can just quickly access. All right, I'm gonna go to landscape view. I just like it a little bit better. It makes more sense in landscape view. But if I open up video physics, what if I want to compare this with the graphs that I did in graphical analysis? If you actually drag or hold and drag up from the bottom, you can get your toolbar to show back up. And then if you actually press and hold, sorry, not video physics. Let's do graphical analysis because I'm in video physics. If you press and hold this, you can drag it up. Now, if I just do it anywhere, it'll do this flyby view, I think they call it, which is cool. I don't really prefer this one, though, so I'm going to swipe right and make it disappear. All right, and I'm going to, of course, do it again and get my toolbar. And this time, I'm not going to drop it here. I'm going to move it to the side. And then you'll see it finds its own space on the right side. And then in the middle of them, there's actually this little bar you can grab. It's being touchy. Come on. There we go. I can drag it and make them even, or of course I can make one larger than the other. So let's just say I want to make them even. Then I could kind of talk about them side by side so that me as the listener or anybody else can actually visualize both things that you're talking about. You can do this with any apps, so of course it's a really cool feature. If you want to get rid of one and just go back to one, grab that middle part and just slide it all the way out of the picture, and then it's gone again. To get it back, remember, just grab up from the bottom of the toolbar and you can then press and hold and get it back, okay? The only issue I've had though is the camera, which I'm going to show myself again and be real weird. Hey, the camera doesn't work with this feature. So you can do the flyover with another app actually while you're presenting. Oops, sorry, let me get that back. So you can do this flyover, which I block some of my video over here, so I'm not sure if that's the best, but it's kind of cool because you can still see me. Also, maybe if I'm actually presenting, let me get this out of here. If I'm presenting a piece of paper or something, like I could then talk about the math down here, and then maybe I could as well, this is kind of going crazy with it, I could as well pull up the graphs in the flyover view. All right, so that would be, I guess, a good reason for the flyover view. If you want to show me some math, if I request that, you could show me on the piece of paper, and it could just be that, or if you wanted to also support it with some graphs, you could do that. So keep in mind, with not only showing yourself on the camera, you can show this as well right here. All right, I'm going to flip it back. Okay, hopefully this helped out, guys. Some of you probably knew about these things, and also if you know something that I don't about doing the side-by-side with the camera app, let me know, because as far as I know, you can't do it. But keep me posted, okay? All right, guys, hope this helps. When, of course, you're done, you have to go back actually to the desktop, and then in the top right, you can see the record still going. Just tap it,